This is partly why Obama's former national security advisor and U.S. ambassador to the UN, Susan Rice, has a few thoughts for Canada right now. She knows this country well, lived here while her husband was a producer with CBC's The Journal, and she has a case to make that the whole Biden team gets Canada. We sat down virtually, as you do these days, to talk about the looming election, the imminent debates, the Supreme Court, and what all of this means for Canada. Firstly, Ambassador, thank you. You were on a short list to be the VP, and I'm curious, how do you find out that you're not the candidate?
Well, Vice President Biden called me, and we spoke about it. But we'd had a number of conversations in the course of my interview process and his selection process. So we'd been in regular communication, and then on the day when he made his final decision, he called me and let me know what he had decided, and I congratulated him, and then shortly thereafter called Senator Harris and congratulated her.
You didn't go out and smash a few extra tennis balls that day?
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm curious why you want to talk today.
Well, Adrienne, I really want to underscore to the Americans in Canada that this is their election and they ought to register very quickly and vote. You know, there's 620,000 estimated Americans in Canada who are eligible to vote right now. And in 2016, barely more than 5% of them sent their ballots in and voted. And when you consider that many of these Americans abroad, including in Canada, come from what are now swing states, like, for example, Michigan. In 2016, the margin of victory for Donald Trump in Michigan was 11,000 votes. So Americans in Canada can make an enormous difference.
So very clearly, when you're saying you want them to vote, you're talking, let's be clear, about voting for Biden. And I'm wondering...
No, I'm actually talking about them voting, because I represent my own personal interest, but I'm here to say to Americans of all political persuasions, they ought to participate. And there's a very straightforward way to do it. You go to votefromabroad.org. Votefromabroad.org, and you can register in the state in which you were last resident or in which your parents were last resident.
A lot of Canadians are asking the question that what kind of difference would it actually mean for Canada? Because if you look at the trade policies, the prospect of a President Biden putting the U.S. back into the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, that might not be good for Canada. You know, canceling XL Pipeline, that might be a problem for Canada. The Buy America program for Biden, that might be a problem for Canada. So what's the argument, particularly on trade, that it's a good vote to vote for Biden?
When it comes to trade, Joe Biden has historically understood the absolute necessity of good trading relationships between the United States and Canada. That doesn't mean there won't be issues, as there always have been, on which we differ, perhaps softwood lumber or salmon or you name it.
Aluminum.
But here's an important distinction. Joe Biden is not going to penalize Canada on national security grounds in sectors where it makes absolutely no sense. To say, as Donald Trump has, that we're going to impose steel and aluminum tariffs on Canada because Canada poses a national security threat to the United States, when Canada has been by our side in every major conflict, lost more per capita in Afghanistan than almost any other country. I mean, this is offensive. It's offensive to me as an American. I can't imagine how offensive it is to Canadians.
So in the event of a Biden win, what is the plan to ensure a smooth transition? Because you keep hearing rumblings from the White House that we will see, in the vernacular of the president, what happens.
The Biden campaign has lined up an unprecedented number of the highest quality election lawyers that we have ever assembled. Two former Solicitor Generals are running this effort, and we will have teams in every state where we expect issues and contention to make sure that the votes are counted and that this is, in fact, a free and fair election. Donald Trump is operating out of fear. He fears he's going to lose. And for that reason, he's casting doubt on the integrity of our election.
Before the voting begins in earnest, there is the debate. the matter of the debates. They start tomorrow night. Even Joe Biden has talked about wanting to avoid getting in a brawl with Donald Trump. How important is that?
Well, Donald Trump is a bully, and Donald Trump will try to bait Joe Biden. And I think in particular by attacking his family on completely false lines. And Joe Biden is going to have to parry those attacks strongly but calmly and get back to the issues that the American people care about.
A lot of the people President Trump wants to vote for him are celebrating Justice Amy Barrett and what they expect to be a quick...
Not justice yet.
They expect to
Judge.
be a judge. I'm sorry. What they expect to be a quick confirmation. For a lot of American conservatives who are uncomfortable with Donald Trump, this, though, is proof that he is fulfilling a promise to them. Isn't that reason enough for them to vote for him?
Well, I'm sure there are many reasons that Trump's hardcore supporters will vote for him. But the majority of the American people, Democrats and independents, and even a number of Republicans, have said very clearly that they believe that the selection of the next Supreme Court justice ought to be done by the winner of the election, not now in advance of the election. Substantial majorities of Americans say that. Now, I have no doubt that it will please some of Trump's hardest core supporters. It is off-putting and disconcerting, if not alienating, to many of the rest of Americans. And it shows a degree of hypocrisy that's really quite extraordinary.
Do the Democrats have any cards to play in this to change the course of that?
Well, if the vote is rammed through before the election, the Democrats' ability to stop it is very minimal. They can slow it to some extent, but they can't stop it. And I think it will cause Americans of all political stripes to think through, in the context of a Biden presidency, if we have one, which of course I hope we do, and a Democratic Senate and House, how do we rectify this incredible imbalance now on the Supreme Court?
Do you expand the court?
I think all these questions need to be considered, quite honestly.
When we met last time, we talked about how your son is a Republican and your daughter is not. And
she's a progressive, he's a conservative.
And how, you know, as go families, so goes the country. And you were trying to maintain the peace. I'm wondering if the conversations have evolved or changed.
It's getting tougher and tougher the closer we get to the elections, but we're all living together under one roof, mostly peacefully. And we're still, recognize that what binds us, our love, our shared commitment as members of the same family, that's the most important thing. But it's going to be a testing time, no doubt, over the next several weeks.
Ambassador Rice, as always, it's great to speak with you.
Great to be with you too, Adrienne. Thanks so much.